I thought I'm this big guy. I can go out in the world and I can conquer any company. I'll walk in there. I'll work myself up in 3 years and I'll be a director or CEO of a company. And that was the biggest lesson that I've learned in the last 20 years is attach yourself to a mentor, because there's a lot of boys and whose dads aren't available or has got the skill set to be a mentor. You got to attach yourself with successful people and be able to go back to ground zero and work yourself up.
We back at it. It is Keeping It Rugby. The cohort is right here. Oh man, I'm so excited for this one. I'm joined by one of the most honest people that you can ever meet. This guy I met in when I was a junior, and he was one of my seniors. But there's something that I've always wanted to ask. Who am I talking about? It is Pietie Meyer, the former Lions scrumhalf, the man who played a lot of first division rugby, and he's gone on to become this consultant, the coach, the someone that you always want on your side. If you want anyone to be on your side, it's Pietie Meyer. Pietie, how you doing, my guy?
Thank you, Bobs. I'm doing very well, and thanks for all the compliments.
Yeah.
You over-exaggerated a bit, but I'll take it.
No, it's because I'm really appreciative for you to come through. It's conversations like this that we normally have on a golf cart. And I thought, why don't we bring it out here? First things first. I pulled through in 1999 to come and join you guys after you just lost in 98, the under-21s Lions setup. And you guys were quite a tight unit. I mean, to think about the players who were there, the Roland Reeds, the Pietman van Niekerk. I mean,
Dean
not
Hall.
too many people would be a sort of Dean Hall, Andre Pretorius, Conrad Yankees, Lawrence Sipaka. I think from our group, about 9 odd Springboks came out of there. Vickers van Heerden, Joe van Niekerk, Barend Pieterse. I mean, I pulled through. What was your first thought?
You know what, Bobs, it was obviously tough for us, you being a Cape Townian and representing the province area.
Yeah.
So, but you know what, you slotted in and we accepted you as one of us. I mean, we went on to do, in my opinion, great things. For me, it was a team effort that made those Springboks. You know, and I'm proud to say that I was part of the Springbok setup 4 years later, because I know we were all part of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, if you don't get recognition, you know, at the end of the day, you look yourself in the mirror, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Not what you wear, where you play, it's who you were part of, and mates like you.
Mate, the one thing that no one could take away from you is you have that competitive edge. Where does that come from?
You know what, Bobs? I actually watched a podcast yesterday about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And we said that he doesn't understand the current players in world sport. He says everybody's helping each other up and they're having meals afterwards and they go to movies together, etc., etc. And he believes that the competitive edge was because he knew that the enemy is on the other side of the line. And I think that was part of my mentality playing rugby, you know. I wasn't that guy. I didn't socialize with anybody else except my 23. And that's something I still believe in today. You know, I don't have a lot of friends, but I only need 3, and you're one of them.
I know. I made the cut. You talk about that. I mean, the pure example, to put it in context, how competitive you were. One of the guys that we sort of got along with, especially in opposition, James van der Walt, who came and joined us at the Lions after his junior times at the Free State.
Yes.
Final whistle goes in 1998 under 21 final. Lions just lost it in the last minute. James van der Walt comes to shake your hand. What did you do?
Unfortunately, I cracked him. I gave him one. But you know what, Bobs? I thought about it, and you know, there was words that came out of my mind because I felt bad about it.
Yeah.
5-6 years later, at the time, I thought I'll see you in the dressing room for around 2. But you know what it's called? It's called agony of defeat. You know, I couldn't handle it. I'm a very emotional person. I've got unbelievable highs and I've got unbelievable lows. But you know what? I've accepted that's me. That's who I am. You know, so.
And then the one thing that people might not know about you is that you've dedicated your time in pouring back into the game. I like to say serving the game that has given you so much. Talk us through your coaching and what is it that keeps you busy? What is it that sort of burns that passion, that desire that burns inside you to look after the next future Springboks?
Bobs, you know what I believe, and I thought about it this morning again. You know, this country is so, people don't understand how blessed we are with talent. You know, it's crazy. We can put our teams like you will not believe. And it's always been like that. So for me, it's about, you know what, I get 5-6 phone calls a day of dads asking me, listen, my son didn't get a professional contract or didn't get a bursary at the university. What can we do? And there's so many options out there. There's so many options out there. They must just take the leap, be prepared to work for 3 years in a system that is not as good as our system, and they will come through. We are so blessed. I cannot exaggerate how blessed we are of talent.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a boy yesterday, JC Vosloo from Oakdale.
Yeah.
I think he's the next Hafide Toy.
Gee, can you imagine?
You know, he was unbelievable in that game. And you know what? There's so many of them running around. There's so many. But where do we send them? There's only 4 or 5 unions that can afford them. I'm a guy that want the Border Bulldogs to be a team in the Currie Cup beating Northern Transvaal on a bad day. You know, that's what I want. I want SWD to play Currie Cup rugby. You know, those Oaks cannot disappear. There is too much talent there. I can name so many Springboks out of the Border Bulldogs, so many out of SWD. And what's going to happen with all those guys? You know what? I just believe the school system is too strong at the moment, and we can't do anything about it. It's too strong.
How do we balance that, Pietie? Do you think there needs to be another tier, like, because there's Varsity Cup? Everyone raves about it, and yes, it captures people because it's on television, right? And then there's club rugby. No one really sort of talks about. How do we sort of build a bigger catchment pool, like this bigger net, to catch all these players, to keep them interested in the game?
You know what, Bobs, it's going to be twofold. What I believe is that there must be an education part at unions, for the smaller unions, where the guys are looked after financially in terms of just giving a roof over their heads, giving them food, and giving them the opportunity, 3-year opportunity, to become the best they can be. But in the same time, work on plan B. We've always been taught there is no plan B.
Yeah.
If you're not fully committed to plan A, you will never make plan A. And that is not true. I've realized in rugby, and I realized after rugby, there is a plan B, there is a plan C, there is a plan D, but you must have the tools to get to those plans. Because rugby, making it in this country, we worked out the percentages to become a Springboks like 0.1. We looked at it the other day. If you play primary school rugby and you play provincial primary school, the chances of you playing under 18 provincial is less than 10%.
What?
Less than 10%.
Is that the conversion rate from under 13?
Under 13 to under 18. Less than 10% of the boys that play under 13 play under 18.
I mean, this game of ours has got these beautiful values, 5 of them. I mean, we can wrap them off on top of our heads. How do we keep people interested in this game? Because we know what this game feeds. Because it's not really about playing. It's the relationships. It's the camaraderie. It's the networking. It's the connecting of people. I mean, if you think about it, if you stay in a small town and the only place that you can actually get to socialize with people is at the rugby club or whatever sports that you're in, how do we make that become something that is valuable for the community?
You know what, Bobs? The unions have got enough budget to sustain the high-end players, but they're going to have to look at putting some budget out there to get, and not I call it a pie in the sky. Don't get a mentor in to teach them life lessons once in 6 months, and then you say you serve the program. That's not mentorship. Mentorship is you dedicate a Pietie Meyer who didn't have any money after rugby, and what did you do? what did you do after that? And teach those boys the hard lessons of financial sustainability.
Yeah.
After school, after rugby, because that is the biggest problem. Our era was an amateur era, but we thought we were professionals. The money we got wasn't professional rugby.
It was not going to last.
And what happened? You know, all of us collapsed financially, all of us. And that's where the mentors need to come in, you know, but a sustainable program. And that's something that Rassi and them must enforce, because it's just helping the boys. I mean, there's guys that struggle these days from depression of our era that is crazy. It's crazy depression because they don't know where to go. But that's why the plan B, C, and D must fall into place, and mentors are the only ones that can help them.
I mean, when we were players, we had the agents, we had all of that. We thought that we were being looked after. I mean, the lessons that you sort of picked up from that era, how do we sort of put that reality now and make it tangible for the young player who's playing now? Because nowadays you have this 4-time world champions Springboks. We have back-to-back Springboks. There's a lot of success when it comes to rugby. So everyone, somehow, they feel like it's going to happen to me too.
I think we need to get to, and I'm going to go back to the mentorship.
Yeah.
What I've learned in the last 20 years after rugby is that I thought I'm this big guy. I can go out in the world and I can conquer any company. I'll walk in there. I'll work myself up in 3 years and I'll be a director or CEO of a company. And that was the biggest lesson that I've learned in the last 20 years is attach yourself to a mentor, because there's a lot of boys and whose dads aren't available or has got the skill set to be a mentor. You got to attach yourself with successful people and be able to go back to ground zero and work yourself up. You know, that's what majority of the rugby players who finish, they don't. We're not talking about the Eben Etzebets and the guy that make hundreds of millions in their rugby careers.
Yeah.
We're talking about the guys that's earning 30,000, 40,000 rand a month. And after that, they get cut off and they need to start from the bottom. But they need to get themselves connected to a mentor that says, listen, yeah, stuck it out for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. This is where we will be. This is the line we need to cross. And back again to mentors. You know, I mean, a guy like Rudolf Straulier that's at the Lions, you know, Rudolf can mean so much to young players, so much. He was in an amateur era who started to become professional. He's had very highs, he's had very lows, and I think he can mean so much for young players.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, I look at it. There's someone that we both enjoy his company, Brian Mitchell. How has he been? And like, first of all, how did you guys sort of? I mean, it's Brian Mitchell. Pietie, how did you meet Brian Mitchell? How did you meet Brian Mitchell?
You know, he was obviously a era of every single boy. He was the Rocky Balboa of our era. You know, and we we connected at a golf day one day, and you know, we've ever been after that. We've been best friends after we connected at that golf day.
Did he clap someone? Then you had to jump in?
No. Unfortunately, it wasn't that. We would have been ready. But you know what, Bobs, what Brian has taught me, I mean, and he won't mind me saying this. I mean, he was making back in that days, 92, 91, he was making 10 million rand a year, a fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's unbelievable. And you know what, from business decisions that went wrong, you know, he lost all that money. But what Brian has taught me is the fighting spirit that you had in your professional sport. You bring that back into life every single morning. You stand up and you fight again. You stand up and you fight again. And that has helped him to be successful again. He is so successful at the moment because he got up every single morning, and it was like boxing. After every round you get knocked down, you just get up and fight again the next day. That's all it is.
You talk about that. I mean, there's one thing that former athletes and former players, they sort of forget. That warrior that's within you, because It was never given to you. You had to go get it. How do we sort of make sure that the involvement of being in the sport, it doesn't matter how successful you've become a Springbok or not a Springbok, but the fact that you went out and said, you know what, I am this person, I want to play professional sport, how far I take it, it's my talent, it's the sport that I enjoy. Even if you play varsity cup, how important to recognize that work and those sacrifices that actually it transcends into your life afterwards.
What is making it? You know, that is the big question. I coached a team one day, under 14 team, and this one boy was so over, and that's why Dick Meyer always said that you can learn from a 10-year-old. And this under 14 boy was so hyped up for this game, I couldn't believe it. I said to him, my boy, this is a league game and you're under 14. He said to me, no, coach, this is my World Cup final. And I was stunned. You know, and if you have that mentality that you are going to be the best under 21 Lions player that you can be, then you made it.
Yeah.
You know what? That's the thing. A lot of boys think, and I've been in the game for 24 years coaching schoolboys. A lot of boys, 95% of boys, think if they don't get a professional contract or get picked up by a university, they didn't make it. No, my boy, you did make it. You became the best you can be. There's a life outside of rugby. You can be a successful golfer. You can be a successful businessman. And that's making it as well. The secret is making it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. That's a secret.
How do you get that sustainability of, you're talking about that's what we need to sort of address. How do we become make consistently after your success that you've had within whatever sort of genre or whatever, it doesn't matter. It could be an artist, whatever. How do you sustain it with this challenging economy that we live in? South Africa being what it is and the realities that we face up. How do you become a person who we can look at and say, that's a beacon of light, doesn't matter what they throw at them?
Bobs, you know what? I've got a very big weakness. All the boys that I coached in my life, I always worry about them.
Yeah.
You know what? And I really, really worry about them. So there's boys that go through my hands as an under 18 player. And the next year, and you can ask majority of the players that I've coached, the next year, I force myself and I worry about a boy and I'll give him a call. And I said to him, like this boy that I sent to Scotland, he's playing for Scotland under 20s. But in his case, it's different. Rugby has gone on for him. But there's other boys that I phone. And I said to him, listen here, Rion is a boy, for instance, that I phoned. I said, listen here, what are you doing? What is happening? Are you studying? Have you started working? No, coach, I'm doing a gap year. I said to him, no, there's nothing like a gap year. Get into work immediately. True. Build a future for yourself. What are you doing on a daily basis to become a better Rion in a different area? So that is a real weakness of mine. I phone a lot of boys all the time, and I know I can't help them all. But if I can just in that conversation give him some self-belief and just teach him what I've gone through on a way that he doesn't realize it's going to be hard, but still get some self-belief. You know what? Then I've done, that phone call was worth it. That phone call was worth it.
When it comes to people who into high performance and everything, there's a fear of failure. What is fear of failure to you?
Bobs, fear of failure to me is, and I've narrowed it down now. I've worked this out for myself. I measure myself on a daily basis. You know what? We started off as amateurs, started off this big dream, and when you don't reach it, you see failure. And then you want to make R1 million a year profit, and you don't reach it. I see it as failure. I saw it as failure. And you know what? Life has taught me that you narrow it down to daily basis. Was Pietie Meyer today the best I can be? And you know what? There's a few days where I feel, I didn't have a good day, but today I was the best I can be. And what I usually do, I mean, a guy like Rian van der Merwe was a great player, an unbelievable
Anton
player.
Leonard.
Yeah, the Anton Leonard of Transvaal Rugby.
Transvaal
and
Rugby.
Barend Pieterse and Pietman van Niekerk. You know what? I phoned them at the end of the day and I say to them, you know what? I thought I was the best I can be today. You know what? And they'll say to me, yes, well done, buddy. And that's all I need. You know, that's all I need. My wife as well, you know, she is, you know what, for me, she is, even if she doesn't know it, and it's just, I know she knows that I'm giving my all. And that's all I need. That's all I need.
Pietie, you've gave me your all today. This is not the last time we're going to chat. There's more to talk about it, because we at Keeping It Rugby, we want to talk rugby, but rugby is not the thing. It's what brings us together. Yes, but then we are human beings with feelings. We are vulnerable. We have weaknesses and strengths. And the only way we can do that is to sit back and reflect on it. Thank you for such an amazing enthusiasm that you always show. Thank you for your passion. And I really appreciate your friendship.
Thank you, Bobs. I really appreciate yours as well. And thank you for inviting me. I hope we can help a lot of young players after this conversation.
Well, that is Keeping It Rugby. And this is the Care Report. Yes, we do care for everyone. Like, subscribe, share. We need to grow this community so we can get these voices out so that loads of people can take some of these lessons.